We have got 3 minutes to go until Destiny 2 Renegades major update for Hahn Iron developer livestream. Bungie, don't mess this up. Oh, here we go. It's starting.
All right. Hey, everybody. Hey, Guardians. Welcome. My name is Dylan. I'm going to be your host today. And happy 11-year anniversary to Destiny 1's launch.
Hey.
I wanted to make sure to cover that at the very top because it's kind of mind-melting. 11 years of Destiny. Had no idea we'd be here.
It's 11 years of my life.
Today we have a ton to talk through, so we're going to rush through this. No, we aren't going to rush. But we have Renegades. We have some really cool stuff to talk about that's going to be coming in December. And then we also have, on the second half of the show, we're going to be looking at Hahn Iron. We'll have a bunch of devs on the couch. We're going to talk about the activities, the loot, and potentially a new exotic that you might have been asking about. So, without further ado,
there you go. He
Robbie,
just confirmed
how
it.
How you doing? Welcome back to the couch.
Hey, Dylan. It's great to be
here.
He
literally just confirmed it. It's
like
the exotic
talking
axe.
Here in the intro, like we've got some really big changes coming based on all the feedback we're getting from the Edge of Fate that we'll talk about right after we give a little bit of a first look at Renegades here. And that's why we got our laptops, right? There's a lot to get through, and there's a lot to talk about. So
I
we're
love
just
that
gonna make
background
Dylan
picture.
making sure we're going to get through it all. So we've been hard at work on collaborating with our friends at Lucasfilm Games to make something that is like unmistakably Star Wars, but authentically a Destiny story and experience. And so today we get to start pulling back the curtain on
Oh my god.
And I'm going to embrace my inner Scarrow and ask, Robbie, is there a Vidoc?
Yeah, so you all asked for it. You're
Finally.
gonna get it. We're about to play a Vidoc. That is our first look at
Ship
the Wallace
shooting the
Frontier.
drifter ship in the background,
you're
by the way,
stepping
guys.
into a world of criminals, shady deals,
Sparrows.
with an arsenal at your disposal that you'll only be able to find within a black market here that's emerged within Seoul. And so, yeah, let's take our first look at Renegades.
Oh my god, okay. Yep, we're going straight into it. Oh shit.
Seeing how stunningly Star Wars it felt was electric.
I just jumped into that walker and I just annihilated the encounter.
Oh my god.
Squeezing that trigger and feeling that blaster just go off, it was like a whole new world opened up for me.
That's gonna be so
There's
good in
something
PvP.
really special here that we haven't really done in Destiny before.
That ignition, that hiss, that sound.
Oh, it's like that. Okay.
There's the drifter
We
ship.
begin in the shadow of a prophecy that says our end is already written. It's here we draw a line in the sand, where we start the long journey to fight our fate. In Renegades, Guardians infiltrate a criminal underworld to save a friend whose past has caught up with them and disrupt the rise of powerful new enemies. In special collaboration with Lucasfilm Games, we took inspiration from Star Wars to craft a one-of-a-kind Destiny story.
Not gonna lie, it looks
Renegades
cool.
redefines what an expansion can be. It brings the grit, guns, and glory of a space western to Destiny. But Renegades isn't just about power. It's about what you're willing to risk to change the future.
Finding hope in shadow.
Themes of underdogs rising up against something much larger than themselves. Themes of hope. Those little places in that Venn diagram were the ones that really helped us find the story that we want to tell together.
If you look at Star Wars and you look at Destiny, you can kind of see that parallel that exists. So for instance, our Dredgen, they're our Sith.
Pretty Sithy.
Yeah, and then you've got the Barrett Imperium, and they are very, very Empire-like.
Yes.
They have a huge appetite for
That looks
expansion.
really good.
I think of the Praxic Order. There are Jedi in this release, and they are very focused on
The Praxic Order.
and law and understanding that there is a binary in our universe of good and evil. We get to poke at that a
Touch
little
of
bit
malice.
in a way that suits our story and our world,
Weapon
while
of
still
Sauron.
feeling very much like the inspiration that we're calling from. Edge of Fate leaves us with a really big pass forward into the future. We know of this prophecy now that tells us that we need to bind the Nine or we face extinction. And Drifter was there on Kepler. He saw all of this.
There's the derelict.
Not running from this one.
Drifter is convinced that there's a connection between the Nine and the rise of this new faction, the Barrett Imperium. He sees them rising at an unnaturally fast rate and is insistent that there's a problem. But the Vanguard isn't listening. They're insisting that he needs to stand down.
Is that the
The
dungeon?
cool thing about this criminal underworld is you and Drifter and your crew, you come in at the bottom, and at the top, there's the Barrett Imperium. You need to work with all these crooked criminal syndicates in between, earning your power, building up the notoriety, getting the gear that you need to take down that powerful Imperium at the top.
There's a weapon that the Barrett Imperium have made, and we need to be the ones to destroy it. And we're not going to be able to do that unless we work with exactly the kind of people that we normally fight. So we're going to head out to the Lawless Frontier, and one job at a time, we're going to take down the Imperium.
I need to see the armor again, man. It's the only thing on my mind right now.
The Lawless Frontier is filled with big, chaotic, cooperative activities.
Look how big that
You're going to
hobgoblin
choose
is.
the job, you're going to choose which renegade abilities you're going to take into those jobs, and then you're going to drop into the action with your team, smash up those objectives, get as many riches and treasures as you can, and then get out or die trying.
To do that, you're going to go to the Lost Frontier hollow map. You'll see Mars, Europa, and Venus with swamps that are very reminiscent of Dagobah. There's some hints of Hoth in Europa, right?
Yeah.
For fans of both Star Wars and Destiny, like Mars, which is some pits that are very
Yeah, we knew we were
reminiscent
going
of
back to
Starlight
Mars.
pits, and you don't want to fall into them, you'll die.
These are Destiny locations. It's just we're taking inspiration from some of these iconic places in Star Wars.
Yeah.
Let's say we go to Mars, and you're gonna pick a bounty hunting job for the Fallen to take out some Cabal. And then you either matchmake with people online, you take your crew with you, you can play solo. Every time you drop in, you might be in a different location on the map. Your objectives are gonna be a little different each time, and it also might be a different time of day, so there's a lot of variety and richness within these activities, because we want them to be highly replayable. Along
Look at
the
that
way, we're gonna throw a
weapon.
bunch of curveballs. You might run into a missile tower that's trying to take you out from halfway across the map. And you have to like divert and take it out, and you get some extra credits out of that. Defeat your boss, get to the exfil with whatever time you've got left.
That's very
Call your
Siva,
ship
isn't it?
in. All hell drops in on your head from the Cabal. Your ship flies in. You hop aboard, and you got to exfil.
I kind of like that, you know.
Over the course of the campaign and deep into the post-game of Renegades, you're going to be unlocking and earning a bunch of different Renegade abilities.
Right.
We got things like airstrikes, Cabal drop pods,
That's very
vehicles
Helldivers.
like the Cabal walkers, interceptors, swoop bikes, turrets. We've got 9 abilities, 7 upgrades. There's a ton of stuff that you can bring in and just change how things play.
It's like a tech tree of options.
It's like a whole tree of options across support, defensive,
Vehicles.
and offensive abilities. So the player's going to have a lot to play with here.
The Lawless Frontier isn't just about raw power. It's about influence.
It looks
Shady
good.
backroom deals, working for these powerful syndicates and against
Oh
them
my God.
at different times. And all of this takes place at the heart of the criminal underworld in Tharsis Outpost.
Oh my god!
The Vanguard have been preoccupied. They've been off saving the world, and they haven't been looking at Tharsis. It's
Tharsis.
changed a lot since the last time we were there.
It's now this thriving black market, this criminal underworld.
Oh my god.
Tharsis Junction became Tharsis Outpost.
I need
If you
to...
have an unsavory job that you need done,
Spider.
you can find it at Tharsis Outpost.
Tharsis Outpost feels appropriate for both Star Wars and for us. When we looked at Mos Eisley as inspiration, we knew that we could play in that playground in a really fun way. From the ghosts that you'll see floating around to one Elixni with all 4 of his Elixni arms shaking up drinks. We took that inspiration and we found the Destiny spin on it. Criminal syndicates have moved in.
You're working with the syndicates. You are building your notoriety with them.
The 3 different syndicates that we created, we're going to be dealing with. The Pikers are Elixni. They're kind of like an anarchist biker gang. Unlike other Elixni, they're atheists. They don't worship machines. They follow relics. We've also got the Totality Division, a subsect of the Barrett Imperium. They're run by Scions, and their
Wow.
enforcer Rao is going to be
That's
the leader
huge for
of
the
this
lore, by the
group.
way, guys.
And we've got Tharsis Reformation. They are a breakaway group from Maya's Vex. They're starting to think for themselves and figure out what it means
That's
to be
huge
an
for
individual.
Vex, by the
They're
way.
starting to do crime. They're,
That is
you know,
huge
they're
for
wearing
Vex.
clothes.
Crime and wearing clothes are what all individuals do. We need to have new people to fight and new people to root for. And this was our opportunity.
But the heart of the Renegade fantasy is not just surviving the lawless frontier. It's garnering influence and building your power so that you can bend it to your will.
I need to see more.
In the end game, we get the best weapons, the best armor, the coolest exclusive cosmetics. You're gonna need to work with the syndicates to increase your notoriety by completing jobs successfully, alone or with a crew, and then doing so you'll unlock our highest risk, highest reward jobs, and at the same time you're gonna have the ability to do the special job that'll take you off planet to the dungeon.
Oh, here we go. That's Pyramid
And
Fiend.
you'll also unlock Invasion.
That's right, Invasion is back. But this doesn't work like Gambit. It's opt-in. The invader has some initiative when invasion begins. This is more strategic.
You scan the battlefield and you're like, okay, is this the right time for me to take the shot? And what's the right tool for me to do it? Do I use an airstrike or a vehicle? Do I use a cabal walker?
Just watch out for that double cross.
Yeah.
Renegades
my
march
God.
the Guardian's descent into a criminal underworld. A world of shadows and syndicates, where your light and your choices will cut a path forward. You'll fight dirty, break the rules, and build a hardened crew that can take on any job, standing up to the most ruthless syndicates in the system.
I need to know how those lightsabers work in PvP if you're deflecting shots like that. Typical Titan, man. That's so strong. That's got to be a
Even
heavy
in the darkest
weapon.
corners of this world, there's still a glimmer of hope. Guardians will have to find their own version of balance between loyalty and survival, between power and purpose.
I need to know who the Dredgen
Because
is.
there's more at play than credits and contracts. Forces are on the move. Ones that see
Actual
you not
cinematic.
just as a player, but as a piece on the board. To change the future, you'll have to become the one thing they never saw coming.
Oh my god, it's Janna 14! No way, is that Janna 14?
Start the engines. Take off as soon as you can.
No way.
All right, welcome back. Sorry, I love Vidocs. I gotta stop looking at chat. Let's get the show on the road. So, pre-orders for the new Renegade Standard Edition start.
No, it's not
right
Janna
now.
14. I just
And,
realized
we
that
actually
Janna
have some added
14's a
bonuses,
fucking
even if you pre-ordered the
EXO.
What do we got?
So we wanted to build like an iconic ship, Dylan, that
Damn.
kicked off the road to Renegades here over the next few months. And what's cool about this is you're actually going to see your ship, whatever ship you have equipped, that's going to be flying by when you deploy your Renegade abilities in the Lawless Frontier. And also, you're going to be using your ship to go between different areas within the Plaguelands here in the Reclaim activity that's launching today.
Well, we actually get to control the ship?
So with pre-orders talked about, let's dive into the Vidoc.
there's a lot.
Robbie, where are we starting?
Did you say we get
Yeah,
to
so I
use
think
our
it's
ship,
like probably
Max?
best. There's so much like to do a really
No, it's easy
kind
to
of
see it
quick
flying
overview
by.
of what we looked at here.
Right.
So Renegades thrusts you and your crew into the heart of a lawless frontier that's emerged around Mars, Europa,
Wow.
and Venus, all new locations across those places.
That was sick,
And
by
you're
the way.
trying to keep up with Drifter, ultimately,
Yeah, it
who's
was
chasing
really
startling
good.
visions of calamity and rumors of a powerful new Cabal faction that's rising, the Barren Imperium. So
This
to deal with the
immediately looks
Imperium, You're going
better
to take on the role of a
than the Edge
renegade
of
as a
Fate.
guardian. You're going to smuggle, sabotage, bounty hunt your way to the top of the lawless frontier, and that means you're going to be working with the shady syndicates to build your influence within Tharsis. But ultimately, like this is for the right reason. You're being the bad guy to do the right thing because you can't really
I
ignore
love
this
that. That looks so
prophecy of
cool.
extinction that showed up at the end of Edge of Fate. Yeah.
So, I mean, you mentioned Drifter. We have a pretty stellar cast here, and there was a new character that we showed off in there.
Yeah, we showed one of our new characters.
who was that?
That's a new member of your crew who comes from the Praxis Order, actually. And
No, it's not
they've
Janna
been
14.
tasked with tracking down reports of dredging activity across the lawless frontier. And they've also been tasked with keeping an eye on Drifter because he's been seeing and
Oh
saying
my God!
crazy stuff.
I know who that is.
Lately. And this is all being done
She's part of
in
Icora's
defiance
Hidden.
of the Vanguard. So this Praxis Order is kind of here to kind of be oversight
Mm-hmm.
of everything that's happening. We've got a bunch of new villains too, alongside
what
the
was her
Kingdom Citizens
name?
and their bosses. We just don't want to spoil too much right now. We're going to have more on the story closer to launch.
There's a
So we've
she's
got
the one that wrote the
smuggling,
lore tab
sabotaging,
about Zer
bounty
getting
hunting,
mugged.
wearing clothes, doing crime.
It's important.
Let's talk about the gameplay.
Yeah, so being an individual means crimes and close. We've established that. Yeah, going forward.
Can't remember the name, man.
So one thing to like make sure is clear here, like in the campaign that has a bunch of story missions.
The Lawless Frontier is coming. It's not just like a concept. It's an activity.
Yeah, and I know we're showing something on screen right now that like is like when you go through this like daily ritual of dealing with contested territory, you'll be able to like target the syndicate you want to kind of like take down in that moment. But ultimately, the Lawless Frontier is a new activity where you'll be carrying out a variety of those missions, those smuggle, bounty hunt, sabotaging. I think you kind of can tell what they're going to be all about just with the name of them. And this is you just partnering with and against the syndicates. And so it's fast, it's tactical, and it's going to throw a ton of enemies and a variety of objectives within each of these jobs at your fire team in new locations across Mars, Europa, and Venus. This is all about big, chaotic co-op action within the Lawless Frontier. Yeah.
Cool. And then when you're working with the syndicates, like, I expect to be paid when I take on a job. Like,
Sure.
what are they going to be giving us?
Every criminal does.
Yeah,
right. You know what I mean? So, well, like one thing just to like talk about at the top because Tom
looks
and I are
cool.
really excited about this, the creative lead on Renegades. The Cabal have been dropping pods on your head for like 8 years now, something like that. And so with one of our Renegade abilities, we kind of get to turn the table on the Cabal and drop one on them. It also supplies you some ammo and stuff too, some nice convenience there. But the campaign ultimately like introduce you to a number of these abilities. In the Turf War, you'll actually choose which syndicates you want to pledge to in order to unlock more
it's like
abilities and a
factions.
bigger suite of upgrades. Also, depending on which syndicate you're pledged to, there will be other bonuses and weekly shipments coming into Tharsis as well that you get to take advantage of.
That's cool.
And so one thing I want to note too is that all of these Renegade abilities that we're talking about in the Vidoc, they're purely additive to your subclass abilities. The Renegade abilities do not override any of your other Guardian abilities. So like your super, your melee, your grenade, that's all at your disposal on top of these Renegade abilities. We really wanted to lean into the idea of this fantasy of you working with your crew and the various roles you could play within the Lawless Frontiers of all these different type of jobs that you're going to be doing.
Awesome. He was talking about the blaster and that feel the first time he shot it. Like, let's talk about him.
Yeah, I love that blaster, and because like my personal joke is it's like Forerunner at home. It's kind of like a legendary version of that exotic, and it just feels fucking incredible. Oh, sorry, it feels incredible. Excuse me, for kids at home. So we're gonna have a weapons deep dive close to launch. I know it keeps saying that. There's a ton of the Vidoc. There's even more to be talking about in the next few months. But what we can say about blasters right now is they're new, powerful weapons in your arsenal, and they actually draw ammo straight from your reserves still. And so the mechanic of this is basically heating up the gun and then venting it out. So no reloading technically, but since you have to like charge up heat and you have to think about overheating, it's a whole mechanic and has its own special reload associated with it.
So we're not going to go too deep on campaign because spoilers. We want to let players discover that.
Yeah.
We've talked about the Lawless Frontier, but one of the components is invasions.
Oh yeah. So you're going to unlock invasion as part of that turf war we've been talking about. And the syndicates are like reaching out to you and they're giving you contracts to play Hitman against other Guardian crews. So it's 1 versus 3. It's you versus a Guardian crew on the Lawless Frontier. And like we said in the Vidoc, invasion is 100% opt-in for both the invaders and the defending fire team crew. But don't worry, because all of the difficulty modes, there's always an option that is available to you if you don't want to engage in invasion. Yeah, we wanted to make sure that, because like even though some people love that PvE chocolate mixing with that PvP peanut butter, we wanted to make sure that if you didn't want to do that, there's always an option for you to do something else within the Lawless Frontier.
And then if you do opt in though, there's more rewards or incentive, right?
I mean, yeah, you're like asking, you're basically saying, hey, fire team, I'm open to having another Guardian come and wreck shop and mess my day up, right? And so you're taking a higher risk, so therefore there's a chance of higher reward depending on how you handle that, right?
Cool. Yeah, I mean, so that covers gameplay effectively. We do have a dungeon. We showed a little tease, but again, no spoilers. We'll let you discover that on day one. Let's talk about the last thing that players may have seen, or the first thing, honestly. We saw chat blown up. Let's talk about the saber.
Right. So, yeah, this is Destiny's homage, right? It's our love letter to the Star Wars lightsaber. And we're calling it the Praxic Blade. Again, we'll be sharing a whole lot more closer to launch. I'm really sorry. I feel like a parrot right now just saying the same thing. But what I can say is that the Praxic Blade is going to be highly customizable in both gameplay and visuals. And so there's going to be a ton of parts and components that you'll be chasing and discovering throughout the Lawless Frontier, within the Turf War, within the dungeon itself. And this is all about kind of making the Praxic Blade your own. And you saw it in the Vidoc, but the blade really does feel truly exotic right now. You can do things with it that no other weapon can do in Destiny, and I really can't wait to players.
I need to know what it's like in PvP and if it's a heavy weapon.
Well, that's it for Renegades.
Honestly, that was decent. That was really good.
Let's talk about rewards. Let's talk about the portal. Let's talk about power. Let's talk about the climb and the feedback that we've been seeing.
Yeah, so to do a little bit more table setting and framing here, like we said at the top of the stream, we've been taking a lot of this feedback to heart, right? We've been listening very intently. We've been looking at our data, and Dylan, we know we need to make some changes, right? And so this is what this whole next section is going to be about. We're going to talk about a ton of stuff. Some of it, a little bit of it, is going to come from Ash and Iron, a lot more in Renegades, and then even more in the future. And so coming back to the power climb, we want it to be faster. We want it to have improved rewards, and we really want it to highlight new and aspirational activities when Renegades launches. And so that means looking at the Renegades campaign and the Renegades jobs and the Lawless Frontier and the activities you do there, and making sure that they both feel like great sources of seasonal power. We know with the Edge of Fate, after you completed the campaign on Kepler, that there's a bunch of cool stuff to do and some rewards to get, but it didn't fit into the seasonal power game, right? It didn't feel like it was a viable path. And so these big chaotic fire team based jobs that we've built and all that variety we're pouring into it is going to be this engine to climb seasonal power. If you're just loving that activity, you're going to be able to spend an enormous amount of time there.
Yeah, and you touched on aspirational content. So when we look at it, you're doing the power climb, but you're looking at the end game, and our raids and dungeons are a part of that.
Yes, they are. So we are making sure here, there's two approaches we're taking and a bunch of work that's going to come out of it. So our focus initially here is going to be on the new raid and dungeon content in this conversation. So that is Desert Perpetual, the Epic Raid here in a couple weeks, and then the dungeon releasing with Ash and Iron. And so we want to make sure that those are more dependable sources of power, both from weekly challenges, some of which that are going to happen in Ash and Iron, but then also we're going to be looking at the power drops that come when you're completing encounters and looking to see if we can adjust those and juice them up a little bit. The other big area, because what we're talking about when we say aspiration is like in-game. You're doing an in-game thing. I should be rewarded for that. So with the launch of the Epic Raid for the Desert Perpetual and Epic Raid and then the dungeon afterwards, we're going to make all drops, the base drops you earn in that content, tier 3. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's ultimately attesting to like players got through some of the power grind, they went into the raid and they were seeing tier 1, tier 2 drops, and that didn't feel like endgame loot. So
it did not.
We're making this
tier
3
is
the baseline,
not.
but then you can build up to tier 4 and tier 5 as you add more challenge, add more difficulty.
Yeah, and I think we hit on it, but I just want to make sure. We talked about improved rewards right around some of the newer content that is coming. This effort, though, is also being applied across the portal itself. And so, Dylan, I know you and I have talked about it a bunch. You know, we talked about solo ops, right? You mentioned Caldera.
Yeah, let's talk about variety in the portal and more reasons or more ways to play.
Yeah, exactly. And part of that theory right here is just like that thinking is we just have to improve the rewards, right? And so a lot of what we're doing is going to be about bringing the baseline of the reward experience with Renegades up to that, closer to that solo ops experience, and also really incentivize playing in fire teams more because, hey, we know Destiny's feeling lonely right now if all you do is spend time in the mines, right? And so we want to do we know we need to do a much better job at that. The other
just to go into that example, like we're talking about Caldera, it's a solo op activity, and players feel it is the most viable path to power. So a social game like Destiny, it is a problem where you feel like you should be playing alone for all the reasons. It's like, hey, sorry friends, you want to play raid, you want to play something else? Sorry, I'm going to go into Caldera and play alone. Yeah, we want to address that. We want to make sure Destiny is social, fun to play with friends, while still maintaining, hey, as a solo player, you can absolutely hop in, but we aren't going to make you feel worse. So example there too, we said, hey, we're going to tone down Caldera and solo ops. We're actually reverting that. We had announced it, we're taking that back, and as you said, that's the new benchmark. We're going to raise things up to feel like Caldera and feel rewarding.
I mean, he's saying the right things, right?
We've already talked about that. We're going to do some of that in Ash and Iron. One of the other things we're looking at doing in Ash and Iron right now is taking our bonus engrams and having them just more consistently award power deeper into the climb and adjusting that. We're also, this is a good segue, I think, kind of into our next area where we can talk more about reworks we're going to be doing within the game and some changes we're making. So the other thing we're going to be doing with bonus engrams when Renegades launches is they're going to feed more into a weekly ritual. You know, a thing that you know when it launches, there's a bunch of stuff to do that's going to accelerate you into power climb.
Yeah, I mean, let's talk about the effectively weekly reset curated activities from Bungie. So you have a moment each week of, let's hop into raid night, let's do Grandmasters, things like that.
Yeah, so the thing you're speaking to, Dylan, the thing we talk about a lot is like, yeah, clan night, raid night, right? We got to get that feeling of hey, I log in on Tuesday and there's just like a bunch of stuff to look forward to. And so a few ways we're going to do that is one with a new system that we're calling Vanguard orders that comes out in Renegades. So Vanguard orders are actually this like new objective system where you're going to be, and we should have a mock-up on screen right now. It looks like our monitor isn't showing the exact right thing just for our place in the studio, so I'm just going to assume it's working.
No, it's not working.
And so within these
there we
Vanguard
go.
orders, you're going to have all these different objectives that you can do, and you don't have to pick these up like bounties, right? These are things that will just be automatically granted to you when you log into the portal. And then what's really cool about these is that they pull some of that like Destiny 1 bounty vibe, where as you complete an order on the left-hand side of the screen of this mock-up here, you will actually roll. You can roll on higher tier orders, like a legendary order that will give you consistent rewards, or an exotic tier order that can give you exotic tier rewards.
Will the
and so
exotic
this
drop
is
a
all about
legendary?
just
'Cause
creating
that's
a bunch
very
more like little
Destiny
moments
1.
of variety within the portal and these different little objectives that you can do.
Not that I want that.
We
just to
already
be clear.
touched on bonus engrams a little bit and how we're going to be reworking those even more with Renegades launches to feed into that idea of like, look at all these things in the portal. I know if I go and gobble up all the green engrams, I'm accelerating on my power climb, and that's much easier and clearer for players to understand. But the other place that we've been getting a ton of feedback on, and we're going to be making changes to, is the weekly conquests, basically. So right now, we have the concept of the conquest as a milestone on your seasonal power journey, and it gives you like a massive, like big dump of rewards. We are going to be making those we're going to be making it repeatable, but then there's going to be a weekly reward for them. There's no way for us, honestly, to balance the crazy amount of rewards you get from the milestones, but we're going to make sure we incentivize them and create a weekly version as
and we actually have a change going live today to make conquests repeatable, but the rewards component is what we need to focus on for a future update.
Yeah, and you know, Dylan, you and I were talking about this a bunch over the last couple of days, is like we want to get back to that, like we want to get Conquest closer to that GM feeling, to that Grandmaster Nightfall feeling of the past, and that's kind of like our little North Star for that.
Yep.
The other big thing too that we've been listening to feedback on, and we're moving really, really fast on right now, is getting weekly legacy raid and dungeon content as like a tunnel from the portal to that. So to set expectations here with Renegades, this is going to first come in the form of, hey, reasons to play this content, to do like weekly challenges and earn powerful rewards from them, right? Again, we want this weekly reset. We want you to clearly know when you log in, here's a bunch of stuff to look forward to play with your friends and others. The reason I have to set expectations, though, is like we hear the feedback about wanting the gear reprised from raids and dungeons. If we could just like flip a switch and make that happen, I think we'd be more than happy to do that. But
He's talking about
it's just
Wrath
not
of the
that
Machine,
simple.
by the
There's
way.
a bunch of work that goes into actually creating the new gear and the gear tiers, and so we are going to be looking to make the reward experience of Legacy and Raid dungeons better as time goes on. Our first focus is making it fit into that weekly reset and into that power climb.
Yeah. And we have our first step today with dungeon lairs. In the portal, there are going to be three encounters coming from Legacy dungeon content. You can get power bumps from those. You can get portal gear from those, but we hear the feedback on general rewards.
Yes.
So,
yeah.
Yeah.
We're gonna be looking to add more to this, like what this weekly ritual feels like. These are the areas we are targeting.
Where's Justin Truman?
All right. So let's move on to our final two subjects. Really are centered around sandbox.
Yeah.
First of which is going to be build crafting, and then the second is around just our general approach to balance. So we have another list here of. Honestly, we've been getting a ton of feedback
exotic
around
weapons and armor
featured
feature
We've been
gear.
getting feedback around like legendary weapon
Yes.
tiering. What are we changing?
Yeah, so this whole
Yes,
space
yes,
is about
yes.
expanding build crafting and gear chase. And
That means I
we
can finally
have,
use
we hear
solipsism.
you. We hear that featured gear is far too restrictive
Very.
for how you're playing the game right now. And so one of the big changes we're making is all exotic weapons and armor are going to be featured gear starting in Renegades. So the class items, your prismatic builds, They're back on the table. You don't have to worry about it anymore. You're not having to think about what exotic you put on. It's all about what build you want to craft, right?
Yes.
The other thing that we've been listening to a lot when it comes to the gear chase is like, hey, you might earn a tier 1, 2, or 3 weapon, a roll of a weapon you really love, your personal god roll, or the community saying this is a god roll. And you're looking at that and you're like, man, it's cool, but like it's not that top tier, right? And so in Shadow and Order, which is our major update coming after Renegades, you're going to be able to enhance the tier of your legendary weapons all the way from tier 1 to tier 5
No
with a
way.
new currency and a new feature
Wow.
that we're building for those.
That is
this
huge.
is all about expanding that gear chain.
That is
And
really,
before we get ahead of
really
ourselves,
huge.
like, as a player, and I'm guessing in chat, people are saying, oh, so I should be keeping my tier 1, tier 2, tier 3 weapons. Where am I going to put these? What's going on with
Oh, here we
vault
go.
space?
Vault changes.
So with Renegades, we are going to give you more vault space. That is the thing we're going to be doing.
Oh my
and
God!
Also, the team is working on a pretty big update to improve the sorting and filtering of just using your vault in game as well.
Increasing to what?
Yeah, we'll have many more details in the coming weeks and months when we get this roadmap together. But our final note in this section before we go to balance is the portal scoring.
Yes, yeah. So
That is huge
right now
news.
with the featured and new gear, there is just an intrinsic bonus that you get for wearing that gear. I guess it's extrinsic because we're asking.
Guys, thank you for coming
anyway,
into the stream.
If you have it
Appreciate
on,
all the likes.
you get a score bonus in the portal, which means you're not only thinking about like activity customization, your build, but also now you have to think about the score too, and like, should I wear this or not in order to chase the high score? And for the vast majority of the experiences in the portal, we think that's just too much complexity right now. And so we are sunsetting that idea. And so again, this is going to drastically open up the space for you to basically use whatever you want in the vast majority of things you play inside of the portal when you're chasing gear and doing that power climb.
Yep.
Yeah.
And a North Star for this, when y'all were talking about it, we've had a ton of conversations with the dev team, is like, there's a lot of feeling of, I'm playing Destiny the wrong way, and this was contributing to it because I had to think, oh, if I put this armor on, it's wrong. This helps that out and gets you into the fun faster.
Yes,
So.
and then like we do believe and see a space for ways to highlight gear and exotics and things like that. Stuff we've done with the artifact for a while now. We want it to be part of the game because I think pushing people off of the super hot stuff is really healthy sometimes to just have more fun and experiment with things. But we know that we need to find ways to make this feel like a bonus and more excitement to do it versus what we currently have now, which is why we're making these changes.
Awesome.
I see.
Yeah, and then our last section here for quality of life. Let's talk about sandbox balance. Y'all have been really taking
Super
a lot
and
of
subclass
feedback
buffs.
to heart since the announce of quite a few nerfs and some balancing, and you have some new approaches to philosophy when it comes to this.
Yeah, so at the top here, one of the things we're doing is we're upgrading our internal process for kind of how we evaluate our buff and nerf policies and also the timing of which when we go out and do those. And so a big part of that here through Renegade's launch is going to be non-critical balance changes are on pause right now. And so this is partially in reaction to obviously some of the sentiment around some of the changes we're making, but it's giving time for us to make sure that when we do start to do more balance updates a little more frequently again, we communicate honestly. We just need to do a better job about communicating about why we're changing something and some of the intent behind it. And the reason I speak about this, because you asked me this a couple times in our rehearsal, Dylan, it's like, what does non-critical mean? Sorry, I'm taking your words here.
No.
I'm just on a roll. We really want to make sure that we're still making balance changes, or if we have to ban something for that epic raid race or the dungeon race that's going to happen with Renegades, right? The quality of that experience is incredibly important to us, and we know it's incredibly important to y'all. And so, again, we're putting a pause on nerfs and balance changes for now, but if we really need to change something because it's critical for those upcoming events, we'll make changes.
Yeah. And ultimately, it's like, there's some things
Right.
where you watch somebody go on a Titan and kill a raid boss in 2 punches, like, that's critical. That needs to be toned down or balanced around. But other things like we
Notice how
actually
he
have a
mentioned
list
Titan,
here
by the
of
way.
we announced some tuning changes or nerfs that we're going to be reverting. Last week we were talking about Grand Overture and Queenbreaker.
Yeah.
We're reverting the changes there.
Yes.
And then we had some reworks to exotics like Stronghold, Chromatic Fire. We're going to be reverting those. And then as a part of this new initiative where we're looking at our philosophy, reevaluating how we do these things, we'll be looking how we approach it and how we communicate it.
Yes.
So
exactly.
cool. And then final note to end on a high, honestly, like we've been talking about nerfs and all that. Let's talk about buffs.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah,
So
let's talk about
we've got
buffs.
some buffs. We've been working with the gameplay team around supers and subclasses that are going to be coming. Some with Ash and Iron here in October, but then also in December with Renegades. And I think you've been talking with them a little more closely actually in the last 24 hours.
Big thank you to Ben Womack, Eric Smith, Sandbox team. A couple notes, like we saw a thread where folks were saying, hey, the original 3 supers that launched with Destiny 11 years ago, happy birthday.
Yeah.
They feel a bit undertuned. And I saw a note where it's like Ward of Dawn, Titan Bubble.
Yep.
That needs to be brought up.
Doesn't exist
Golden
anymore.
Gun. I know Warlocks are getting some abilities changes
Yeah,
too.
some turrets changes coming very soon.
And grenades and other things too outside of turrets. So
Yep.
we will have a full list over the coming weeks, and honestly, it may build. We need to get our roadmap together so we know exactly which
How
fixes,
does
updates
Golden
they're going to
Gun
be
need
rolling
a
out in.
buff?
But yeah, we'll be as transparent as possible with you. So to really end it,
Guys got
and get
Celestial
into
Nighthawk in the bottom
awesome
left
Ash and
there.
Iron content, thank you again to everybody that's been giving us feedback. Thank you to everybody that's been playing and diving into all the changes. We know some need work, and we're going to be doing that. We've been listening, and now we're getting through the planning stages, and we're executing on a bunch of changes over the next few updates and beyond Renegades. So, Robbie, thank you for joining us. As we're going into Ash and Iron, we got to get the catch full of new devs.
Yep.
So, thank you so much.
Thanks for having me. And yeah, we're listening and we're going to keep responding to the feedback. So thank you all so much. And yeah, let's get some more people on the couch. I've been talking.
My name's Noah Pearson. I'm an associate sandbox designer here at Bungie. While my title is officially working on the armor team, I do work in exotic armor from time to time, but you find me more commonly working on the seasonal artifacts, like the one for Heresy, the current one for Season of Reclamation. Both those are mine. But I've also branched out and I've gotten to do a pretty cool exotic weapon in this release as well.
Awesome. Next on the couch,
okay. So
Jerome,
he's
welcome
the guy.
back.
Thank you very much. Glad to be here.
Yeah, really quick, let's get a summary. Who are you? What do you do?
I'm Jerome. I'm a narrative lead, so we do the lore, we do the dialogue, we do the cutscenes, and we plan the overall story for Destiny 2.
Awesome. Last but not least, Clayton. Welcome back. I believe you were last here for Revenant and Into the Light.
Yep.
Yeah. For folks that may have missed out on those streams, who are you? What do you do?
Yeah, so I'm a design lead here for the activities and events area on Destiny 2, and in the past I've been an activity designer or feature owner for activities like Onslaught or Coil or Seraph Shield. So it's been really fun getting my hands dirty in different types of activities and bringing those experiences to the players.
Just long and repetitive.
Thank you so much. So as we're diving through some stuff, we already have gameplay rolling. This is our new activity.
This is the
we're
pulse.
playing. But Jerome, let's talk about
Sports
narrative.
Redlings.
How are things kicking off?
For sure. Well, Maya Sundaresh, the conductor, has somewhat overextended herself on Kepler during the events of Edge of Fate. And she foolishly tried to meddle in the affairs of the Nine and essentially assassinated 3 of the 9, which is the 3 of Earth.
3 being a single entity, right?
Yes, exactly. And that's going to have huge knock-on effects for the people of Earth in physics and chemistry, and we'll hear a lot more about that in Renegades. But for now, Maya is somewhat depleted, right? And she is starting to lose control over her collective. She's starting to bleed individuals at the edges of her collective, and those are the pants-wearing, poker-playing Vex that you saw.
Crime.
Exactly. And so she needs to reassert control over her collective. And in order to do that, she needs a signal boost to maximize the power of her waning Echo of Command. And the best tool for that job is, of course, Golden Age tech. And the best place to find Golden Age tech is in the Vanguard Vault, which is why Ash and Iron begins with a defense of the tower from a smash and grab by Maya's forces, both Vex and conscripted Cabal, which you'll learn more about during the season. But that's going to be a start, but not sufficient for her plans.
Oh, this is like
So
Heresy.
she will need a fully functional Warsat network to really expand her reach. And there's only one place where you can find that, and that's in the Plague Lands, which is where most of Ash and Iron takes place.
Awesome. So let's talk about the next exotic. This is going to be tied to an exotic mission that's coming out in
Here we
October.
go.
And I
The
can already
axe.
see you kind of getting excited, like Vivian was excited for the crossbows that we added. Let's talk about the Iron Axe.
Yeah, he kept me waiting, huh? Yeah, so
There it
the
is.
exotic mission, way back with Rise of Iron, as a player, I remember the YouTube videos coming out ahead of it of YouTubers being like, hey, maybe Bungie's gonna give us this axe that's in the marketing, and like
There it
obviously
is.
didn't come to pass in that release. And then like come final shape, Crow's got it, and I, much like many people, were like, man, I want that axe.
When's my turn?
Like I want that
Yeah.
thing. So when I heard that we were going to be doing a little Return to the Plaguelands, it was like, I'm going to twist whatever arms necessary to finally get the thing that I know I want and I've seen other people want for ages.
They did
so,
it.
Yeah, I can confirm that's no relic. That's our new exotic weapon.
They actually did it.
Yeah, and I think for Clayton and Jerome, since this exotic mission, the team is finishing up the touches and really building this experience. It'll be launching in October. So let's just give a quick preview, no spoilers or no deep spoilers, about what's the premise.
Yeah, as I mentioned earlier, Maya wants to expand her reach, and the best way to do that is like the same way you would with the Wi-Fi in your house. You need expanders, you need routers, right, to boost that signal. And so she is going to be looking to get her hands on Warsat technology, which is why we'll be working with Saint 14 and Anna Bray.
Look at the
throughout
axe,
the
it's changed,
season.
Max.
Saint 14 is sort of our tactical expert, and then Anna, as with her association to Rasputin, having all the subject matter expertise on Warsats.
Awesome.
And not to get too deep into spoilers, but you will be working with 3 of Kayatol's Scions specialists in the mission. So,
Man, I can't wait. Yeah, October can't come soon enough. Then in Call to Arms, you can focus this thing to really hammer on getting those rolls.
It's
And Noah,
stasis.
what's the damage type on this?
Yeah, so you might have seen it in the gameplay. It's going to be a stasis crossbow.
Yeah.
And obviously,
I
with stasis
noticed.
weapon comes stasis perks. And I'm very happy to say that
Headstone?
it does have chill clip, and it in fact does freeze in 2 shots. And oh my god, there's such like a fun play pattern of like you pop a guy twice with it, they freeze, and then if you have serrated bolts, you run up and you pull them out of him, and the serrated bolts do damage and cause him to pop.
Oh, really?
So
It
you
just
like,
a
put him in
shatter?
a major, and you cause him to
Wow.
explode and hit all the dudes around him.
That's
and it was
cool.
an oddly fun play pattern of just
That's
running around
really
and
cool. You
blasting
can shatter
people
by
that
pulling your
I
thing out.
got quite a few giggles out of in playtests.
I can't wait. So again, to say it today
Wow.
with our new territory
Give
event,
me, please.
you can get this to drop. It will be a low drop chance, but over the course of the rest of the season with each event, more chances, and then Call to Arms, you can focus it along with other gear and really go hard for the role you want.
and
Yes,
it has a
please.
holofoil in.
And a holofoil in Call to Arms as well.
yeah.
So that brings us to the end of our show. So
Right.
thank you all for joining us on the couch.
Wait, when did he say
Thank
that
you all for
crossbow comes
joining
out,
us at
Max?
home. We hope you enjoyed the Vidoc.
I remember.
The Renegades pre-orders are live now, and as we said at the top of the show, we have some new pre-order incentives that also apply to the Year of Prophecy folks that purchase that edition. A new legendary ship, a new legendary emblem, and then, yeah, in 3 minutes here, we have Ashen Iron launching. So thanks for coming in. Hope you enjoy the rewards. We'll have more details on our quality of life updates over the next few weeks and a roadmap coming soon.
Wow.
So thank you, thank you, thank you. Can't thank you enough. And if you want to stick around, we're going to be handing off the stream to Mactix. Good friend. He's great at Destiny. Sometimes I do question his PvP prowess, but love the guy. So thanks for joining. Have a good day.
There it is.